You're in your bedroom right now, door closed, lights off. Maybe your partner is next to you, maybe you're alone. Either way, nobody can see you, nobody can hear you, you are completely, totally invisible to the world. You have never once thought of that as an invention, but that is exactly what it is. Privacy, the kind you are sitting inside right now, is one of the newest creations in the entire history of the human species. It is newer than agriculture, newer than the wheel, and even newer than written language. For 290,000 years of human history, this moment of being alone was not just rare, it was impossible. And the strangest part, the people who lived every single day without it were not suffering from the absence. We are the ones suffering. So here is the question: what did ancient humans actually do with zero privacy for daily life? The answer is stranger, more sophisticated, and more relevant to your life right now than you are expecting. For the first 290,000 years of human existence, the entire radius of your life was roughly 50 feet. That is not a metaphor. In 1992, anthropologist Robin Dunbar at Oxford University published research showing that the average hunter-gatherer band maintained near constant physical proximity. Members were separated by fewer than 50 feet during most waking hours. Inside that school bus, 15 to 50 people were living every moment of their lives. They slept together, they ate from the same fire, they traveled as one unit. There were no walls, no rooms, and no surface of any kind that separated one person's life from another's. If you argued with your partner, 40 people heard it. If you were sick, 40 people knew before you said a word. If you felt desire, you felt it inside that same 50-foot circle with nowhere to go. This was not the condition of the poor or the unlucky. The strongest hunters lived this way. The most respected elders lived this way. No one in the group had privacy. The concept simply did not exist. What they had instead was something far more sophisticated. They built privacy out of agreement, not out of stone, wood, or mud. They used a shared decision about what people would and would not acknowledge. In 2014, anthropologist David Sampson studied the Hadza people of Tanzania. He documented behaviors that functioned as unwritten law. The first was timing. When fires burned low and natural light disappeared, the social contract shifted. Darkness was not just cover, it was a shared signal. Everyone understood what the signal meant, and everyone agreed to behave as though they did not see what was happening in the shadows. The second behavior was distance. Moving 50 to 100 feet from the group in near-complete darkness was a silent request for solitude. In total darkness without artificial light, 50 feet is functionally invisible. The third behavior was the most sophisticated, collective silence. Not the silence of people who don't know, but the silence of people who have agreed not to acknowledge what they know. Anthropologist Colin Turnbull noted that the Mbuti people had no word for privacy, not because they were unsophisticated, but because the behavior required no word. It was simply understood. You do not comment on what you did not see. This was the architecture of life for 290,000 years. Then, around 10,000 years ago, everything changed. Humans began farming. Farming meant staying in one place. Staying meant building. Building meant walls. For the first time in history, you could close a door. You could be in a space no one else could see into. But this was not a liberation. It was a trade. Archaeologist Ian Hodder analyzed Châtel-Hayek, a 9,000-year-old settlement. He found that the transition to walled spaces correlated with a measurable increase in interpersonal conflict and tool damage consistent with fighting. Privacy created the concept of mine. Mine meant someone else could take it, and mine had never existed before. Even after walls appeared, privacy remained a luxury for the wealthy for thousands of years. In medieval Europe, entire families shared a single room. Travelers at inns shared beds with strangers. As recently as the 1800s, children sharing mattresses with 4 siblings was normal life. The private bedroom that you woke up in this morning, it became common only 100 years ago, around 1920. That is the last 0.03% of human history, and in that tiny slice of time, something started happening to us. Today, the average adult spends more time alone than any human in history. Loneliness is now a global public health crisis. Depression, anxiety, and social isolation are climbing in every country that has achieved this total privacy. The walls worked, we got everything we built them for, but we are more disconnected than ever. Ancient humans never had a door to close, they built connection out of the only material they had, each other. We built walls to protect that connection, and somewhere along the way, we forgot what we were protecting. They found ways to be private without ever being isolated. They built intimacy not by separating from the group, but by trusting it. We have 100 words for types of rooms, but we struggle to name what we feel when we are in them alone. We have been trying to find each other through these walls ever since. If you could trade some of your privacy for the deep, constant connection our ancestors had, would you do it, or is the price of being seen too high for you? Let me know what you think in the comments.